So Silent Night is the newest action film by John Woo that tells the story of a grieving father who takes revenge on his son's killer on Christmas night. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, Devin Hollister, and today I will talk with you about the new John Woo film, Silent Night. Now, I am not very familiar with a bunch of John Woo films. I've only seen this new one, Silent Night, and then I'm interested in watching one of his most popular ones, Face Off. But before I even begin to start talking about this film, I want to bring up the bunch of criticism that this movie is getting by either John Woo fans or just movie critics in general. I am here honestly to say that the criticisms that this movie has been getting do not hold up whatsoever. And I think that this movie is actually almost a masterpiece. I walked into the theater knowing all the criticisms that this movie was getting that I'll certainly will bring up. I do agree with maybe one or two of them, but this movie honestly is one of the biggest surprises of this year for me. I really enjoyed this movie. But without the idea of the criticisms, what did I expect from the movie? Well, I just wanted something that had like a nice Christmas feeling to it and had good action sequences. I wasn't really expecting too much of a story because based off the trailer, it seemed very simple and very just out of reach. Just simply he lost his voice and he just goes and kills the bad guys. That's it. That's honestly all I really expected. But this movie was really a lot more than that to me. I really was really touched by this movie. It had a lot of heart in it for me. And that's my main first positive of this movie, is that there is so much heart about a father and his son. Now, of course, the son is only in flashback scenes in this film, but basically what you have here is a simple father-son relationship, and the entire movie we're constantly reminded that he is grieving over his son. It may be a bit too redundant, but it's good nonetheless. John Kinnaman is a great actor, and he is able to physically show his emotion that he is just terribly sad and terribly just ruined because of what happened to his son. The movie shows us that these gangsters in the city, whatever city it was, I don't know if they actually confirmed in the movie what city he lived in, but what you basically have is a city that is just corrupted everywhere, rotten to the core of crime and gang wars everywhere. We unfortunately seen our main character, I believe his name was Brian, who is unfortunately caught up in the middle of all this in the beginning of the film when his son is shot in between a rush of a gang war going down the street. And because of his interference with trying to quickly get in that moment revenge on his son, he's shot in the throat and he loses his voice. And basically, not just him, but nobody really talks in this movie, which I'll talk about in a second. So for me, that really set up like a really crazy motivation to just, okay, now we're in it. Now we're for sure gonna be rooting for this guy to go and get his revenge on his son's killer. Like I said, John Kinnaman is able to perfectly physically show how he is just mentally destroyed because of what happened with his son. We see his relationship dissolve with his wife, and we see kind of his mentality kind of just fully focused on getting revenge. And not only that, I feel like everyone in this movie, even though no one really in this movie even says a word, I feel like they're not as good as John Kinnaman, of course, but the wife, the detective character who takes a kind of a big part of this movie, even though he's not really present in much of it, they're able to physically perform as well, even though they don't have as big as a part of the story. And which is such a good thing to appreciate, because making a film, being able to show how you can experience a character's feelings, even though they don't say anything at all, that's truly impressive. And I think John Woo was able to perfectly deliver that in this film. I've heard a lot of criticisms about how they did not do a good job with that. I totally disagree. And I feel like if a lot of people kind of take those criticisms and kind of just not take them for granted, or take them for granted, whatever the phrase is, like if you just go and watch this film, you feel a lot of heart, especially from John Kinnaman.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
John Kinnaman, I said fucking, oh fuck. I mean Joel Kinnaman. If I said John throughout this, I meant Joel Kinnaman, not John. Excuse me, I'm sorry guys. Even though of course we're reminded many times of it throughout the film, John's character of Brian, of course, he constantly uses his son and his vision of his son, missing him all the time. That empowers his character to just keep going. There's many points throughout this film where he's totally weakened. There's no strength left in his character. But as soon as he has the thought of his son, knowing why he was doing all of this, he's able to get up and he just keeps going, he keeps fighting. And that to me was so super motivational. It touched me in my heart. Even though I don't have any children, I felt that. Like I felt his father-like courage to just keep going, and it was truly touching for me. And as far as the action sequences in this movie, I thought that they were all pretty amazing. People have to remember when they watch this movie, he's not John Wick. He is a father who just, because he lost his son, he's training himself to do basic combat skills with the knife, with the guns. And of course, you're not going to get that John Wick style level type of fighting. And people need to stop criticizing the movie for that because, like I said, he's not John Wick. But when you watch this film, he does a damn good job of the fighting. John Woo, with all the slow-mo type stuff that he does, and also with the regular hand-to-hand combat with the guns and everything, I thought all the action sequences in this movie were especially well done. And as far as the slow-mo stuff, can people please stop complaining about that? There is not that much slow-mo in it. People, I seen so much people on the internet saying, oh, there's so much slow-mo, there's so much, calm down with the slow-mo. There's a fair amount of slow-mo in this movie, but there's not much as people are saying, okay? It is not that much. You guys need to calm down with that shit. Is this movie like the best action film that has ever been made? No. But is it a damn good one, especially for the Christmas season? Of course it is. Yes, it is definitely. And I can't wait to watch more of John Woo films that I have never watched before, because this movie has certainly got me into his certain type of movie style. I heard another criticism that was like why are they spending so much time with this? To me, it all made sense. Like they're doing a lot of character development, showing you how he's preparing, why he's preparing, what's motivating him. I felt that was all very important for this film, and I was not looking at my watch at all. I was super entertained by this. And there's actually a little bit of humor in it. There's like a certain scene where he kidnaps one of the main gangsters who like runs like the money deals and everything, and the way he delivers it to the detective and everything. I thought that was all a very entertaining sequence, and seeing him becoming better with his strength over time and learning how to use the firearms correctly and learning how to do the driving maneuvers right. I thought all of that was very entertaining. And it all really does pay off in the end. Everything about the third act, from the action sequences and him teaming up with the detective at the end, like that shit was insane. I was truly like amazed by all that. And the ending of this movie is so satisfying. It is so perfect. And to me, it was so heartwarming. And you guys really need to check it out. I wish I could get into more detail of it, but I don't want to spoil it for you. It's not like some crazy twist that happens. It's not like that. It's just so super heartwarming, and I want you guys to check it out for yourselves without me telling you. I know that this movie probably will not get that popular. Unfortunately, it just seems that way based on all the reviews. I feel like this movie is truly misunderstood. I really would ask all of you guys, whoever watches this, to please check this out. You're going to see so many negative reviews about this film, and I did not understand any of them. Maybe at first when I listened to them, because I hadn't watched the movie yet, but I finally saw this movie last night. I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? This movie is amazing. It is awesome. The only thing I can say that I have negatives about this movie, or maybe two things, right? So one thing is that and it's not even that big of a negative. It's maybe like part of like a mixed thing, right? Basically, it takes place on Christmas. It has Christmas stuff in it, but it may or may not have a Christmas feeling depending on who's watching this movie. It has, a bunch of Christmas trees everywhere. It's got this, it doesn't have snow, but it takes place on Christmas, but it doesn't really have like that crazy Christmas feeling. Kind of to like explain that better, if you watch a movie like Die Hard, it's an action film that both feels like an action and a Christmas movie. This one could just kind of feels like an action movie that takes place on Christmas. And the only really other thing that I could say that was bad about this movie, not bad, but the main villain, he's not even that in that much in the movie. He doesn't really do anything that crazy. And there's nothing really, he's just kind of like a default gangster dude, so but other than that, like, this movie is incredible. I mean, it's super satisfying. It's don't get me wrong, it's nothing new, but it's one of the better ones. I mean, come on, guys. I feel like we hold action so high up today. It's just like, I mean, is it really any that different? But other than that, guys, please check this movie out. It's probably the last like good movie of this year. Honestly, this year of movies has been kind of rough. Well, anyways, guys, that's it for me today. By next week, I'm going to be posting my Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 review, and then the week after that, I will be ranking every movie that I saw in 2023. So please stick around for that. It is going to be a huge list. It's not going to be every movie that came out this year. It's only going to be ones that I saw this year, the ones that I saw. So anyways, guys, I appreciate your time watching this. Please check this film out. Have a great day, guys.